Hello, happy Monday. I hope you're good. Today I'm here for a short story review instead of a full book review. For the next couple of reviews on my channel, they're going to be short story reviews, a part of Stephen King's new short story collection called If It Bleeds. This just came out. I was so excited for this new release, and can we talk about this cover? It is so cool. It's so spooky. It reminds me of the Pet Sematary cover, but I love how we have the cat and then you have the rat in the cat, and I love it. Today I'm going to be reviewing the first short story in this collection called Mr. Harrigan's Phone. This is a great, interesting story about technology, grief, good versus evil, good versus bad sort of thing, and I really enjoyed it. We follow our main character Craig. He is around 11, 12, he's pretty young, and he befriends his neighbor, this old man called Mr. Harrigan. Mr. Harrigan is retired. He used to be this businessman from like New York area maybe. He's basically a billionaire, and he befriends Craig via church, and in a way Craig sort of becomes a caregiver to Mr. Harrigan. He pays him about $5 to read to him, to do little errands to keep him company, stuff like that. And it's interesting to see their friendship in a way, because at the core they do have like a cute friendship, almost like a father figure to Craig in a way is what Mr. Harrigan is for him. The cool twist of the story, well, there's several twists, but I think the unique thing about the story is that it's set in early 2000s, around 2004, when the first iPhones are coming out. So Craig introduces Mr. Harrigan to these iPhones. He buys Mr. Harrigan an iPhone, and Mr. Harrigan has no clue about technology really. Mr. Harrigan is very anti-technology in a way. He's very sort of, you know, the newspaper tells me everything I need to know and I don't need phones because phones are bad for you, you'll become addicted, blah 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 blah. But Craig introduces the phone to Mr. Harrigan, gives it to him, and Mr. Harrigan is kind of mind blown, and he kind of falls into that rabbit hole of the phone. He is so shocked by the app for stocks, and he's so interested in the fact that he can read daily news on his phone instead of getting it a day later. So it was really funny to read about, and it's so interesting to me because there are so many people nowadays that are born, all they know is technology. You know, a lot of us were born years ago when we didn't have these smartphones. I was born early 90s and I had dial-up computers, so you know, even I had technology, but a lot of people didn't. So to read this reaction from this character was so interesting and kind of funny. Mr. Harrigan eventually passes away, and it's very sad, and Craig has to deal with his grief and whatnot. And at the funeral, Craig puts Mr. Harrigan's iPhone in his pocket so that Mr. Harrigan is buried with the phone in his coffin. And so the supernatural twist of the story is maybe Craig calls this phone and maybe Mr. Harrigan answers, possibly. I'm not going to say anything more because, you know, I don't want to give you spoilers. I really liked how this book talked about grief, and I like how when we follow our main character Craig throughout his life, we see his coming of age story in a way. We follow him as he struggles internally on how he can't really let go of Mr. Harrigan, and also how he continuously battles between right and wrong, and he feels very human in that way. And I love the weird connection that these two characters have even beyond the grave, and I love the fact that this book has this technology twist throughout the story, and it just kind of gives it that kind of extra oomph that the story wouldn't have had otherwise. And so I thought it was a great first story to introduce us to this collection, and I'm really looking forward to the next stories that follow. And so I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this story if you've read it, and I will see you next week for the next short story review in If It Bleeds.